So welcome back to the shed. Okay, I'm just having a look at the seat. In terms of where the petrol tank fixture will come to, and then obviously where the back needs to be fabricated. Obviously I need to lose the majority of this. So I'm just going to look at where to cut it. Not too worried about at the minute, within reason obviously, accuracy of this part, because I'm going to need a certain amount of straight before it goes into the radius around the back. What I want to try and avoid really is that obviously where I'm going to be sitting in this area here, I don't want to sort of like, obviously, you know, I don't want to cut the frame here because I don't want the majority of the weight to be on top of the newly fabricated area anyway. So as long as I'm somewhere here, as long as I've got a small amount of straight before I go into that rad, and really I need that anyway for the fabrication process, because I need to fabricate it obviously and then cut it back down to size, and we'll look at welding it on. But for now I need to do a little bit more grinding. I need to cut this off and yeah, just make a start really.
Face down, I find it hard to let the stones roll. Sometimes I fight it, I wanted not to take control. I've been running it up so long, so long. Heaven knows I let it go on so long. See how far we take it too long, so long. Heaven knows we take it too far, so long. Face down, I find it hiding on the road I'm on. Sometimes it's lightning, sometimes it's in the waves that roll. No matter what I try, the waves come up to shore. I know it's hard to find what lay behind my door. I've been kept my head up so long, so long. Heaven knows I let it go on so long. Nothing in this world can take back my soul. Heaven only knows it's too far, so long. Face down, I find it hard to let the songs just roll. Sometimes I fight it, I'm trying not to take control. I'm near it all the time, it's banging at my door. I hear it all the time, it takes me to the floor. I've been kept my head up so long, so long. Heaven knows I let it go on so long. Nothing in this world can take back my soul. Heaven only knows it's too far, so long.
Okay, so that's what we're left with the rear section. So as I said before, this area here just before where the fuel tank will come down, this area here is going to be where the majority of my weight is going to be. You've still got the obviously the weld here from this frame meeting this frame. I think I've removed about 20 mil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to infill that weld in there. just to shore it up a little bit, but that's what we're looking at the minute, so we'll crack on. Right, so internal diameter of that, we are looking at about 16-17 mil, and then external diameter we're looking around 22. So we've got a few options now. Just to give it a bit more support, I'm going to get some black bar inside here. So I'm going to put a piece of black bar inside. I'm going to drill a hole through here first. I'm going to get the black bar inside on both of these, and then I'm going to plug weld it inside that hole just to keep the bar straight. So I'm not even going to risk any distortion or movement, because it'll be actually, the frame will be sat inside the black bar, which will be plugged inside here. I'm going to plug weld it in there, plug weld it in there. The only issue I've got is there's a little bit of a seam from the weld inside here down the one side. So I've got some black bar that, to be fair, with a little bit of work will fit in there, no problem at all. What I'll do is I'll run the grinder down the one side of this bar and put a bit of a flat on here, and then that'll coincide with that, and that'll work pretty well actually, because that should stop it turning anyway. But it's not going to turn because it's going to be plug welded, so that's going to fit inside both sides of the frame. And then obviously when I slide in the piece that I'm going to fabricate here, I'll be plug welded both sides, and then I can run just a seam weld across here. So I'll have a good amount of stability, and I'm only talking about a piece this sort of length here being fabricated anyway. Bar wise for this, I mean, I'm just looking around at what I've got. I've got some old compressed air pipe in here, conduit, which is the same diameter once I clean it up. The only issue I've got with this is the wall thickness is thicker than I want it to be. So bending that and heating that, you know, bending could be a little bit of an issue with that. It is quite heavy duty stuff, that, to be fair. So I've got some other conduit here I'm going to look for, and that'll do just nice. I've also got some galv bar. It's a bit of a pain in the arse to weld. It'll spit and fart a bit, but all I've got to do is grind down the area I'm going to weld, and then, you know, I can fabricate it out of that. Once it's all powder coated and sprayed, you ain't going to see shit anyway. So there we are. That's where we're at the minute. Okay, so I'm just getting an idea for size, this rear part here, and how much of the bar I need to leave out of this hole, because obviously I'm going to fit the other piece over the top, so I'm going to put a bar inside here and weld it in. And I'm just getting a rough idea of where that needs to come over and how much I need to leave out. So I'm looking at roughly 50 mil outside and about 50 mil inside. So I just made a couple of just black steel, really, just some extensions that are going to go into there to fit inside the rear end of my frame. Obviously now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill through here, and then I'm going to insert that, leave it about 50 mil extending, and then I'm going to plug weld a tack inside there and a tack inside there, just to stop this from coming out, and also it'll give it rigidity and stability and keep everything aligned. So that's the next stage. So 2 plug welds, as I said, just to keep this bar inside. 50mm inside, 50mm outside, and those bars are a little bit warm still, but yeah, happy with that, not too bad. There we go. So this is the old back piece. Obviously where I ground off all the old bits. So we're doing away with that, and what I've done is I've formed, just as a prototype, I've just got some galv pipe conduit, and I just formed it on the pipe bender just to give me an idea of how it's to fit, really. So I'm just going to cut this off equally. I'm not going to cut it to size yet because I don't know where the petrol tank's going to sit. So I'm not doing it to exact dimensions, but I'm just going to cut it off and get it flat, because it's not quite flat, as you can see. I'm just going to get it flat now, cut these ends off and try it for size. This conduit fits really, really nicely just over the black mild steel that I've just plug welded in to the back of the bike. If I'm to put the seat on and just bring it towards the back, what we've got is a pretty good shape from the rear as well. Now, I was originally thinking, let me just hold this camera still. I was originally thinking what I can do now is form this bend up and down. But to be honest, that's going to be a difficult process because this is, I don't know, 1/2 mil wall thickness. It's already under a lot of stress here on the bends. Then to heat it up and get it back up here without this deforming, I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, I could heat it up. Of course I could heat it up, but in the forming process now being separate to this original process, I think it needed to be heated up and done all as one. But I actually don't mind this because this is going to leave me a place to put a rear brake and indicators on the sides. Originally I was going to try and get them inside the bar, but again, you know, not time, but just that's going to take a bit of engineering, that is, and to get it looking nice as well. Will it, I don't know, is that even going to be bright enough just to strip? So I think that the gap here, obviously this seat isn't going to sit on top of this. It's going to be lifted up probably about 5 mil by the time I built the frame. So with that there as well in that gap, I think that's going to be ideal for a brake light. So if I fabricate something on the inside of this frame further down the line, we can hide the wiring along the sides, and that could look pretty cool. But you know, it's not in the right position at the moment because there's a big gap there, and obviously the tank's going to finish there, so it needs to come this way. But I don't want to do that yet. It leaves me a bit of an option. Yeah, I mean, I think that back end's going to look quite cool. Yeah, happy days, taking shape.